Well, good afternoon or good evening, everybody. My name is Sarah Rose Stack. I'm the Director of Internet Sales and Training over here with maWebCenters, and I'm welcoming you to our Client Education webinar series. Hope everybody had an enjoyable St. Patrick's Day, and I thank you guys for joining us. This session and this ongoing webinar series is actually dedicated to providing you guys with some frames of reference around why to use some of the tools that actually come with your website solution and the different options that you have in terms of do it yourself, support, and service, so that you can actually implement the ideas and the strategies that you learn during these sessions. So, as you all know, when you are an MA Web Centers client, you are getting more than just a website. You're getting an entire digital online solution, and so it's not just about having a website anymore. It's about making that website visible, and so how you communicate with your community online via social media. How visible are you on the search engines? Are you communicating via email marketing? There's a number of ways that companies, anywhere from sole proprietors all the way to very very big business, are staying in touch with uh, their customer base and reaching out to increase their customer base. And we want to constantly be evolving to help provide you with the tools, the support, and really the options that you need to also be able to provide that same kind of support and interaction. So tonight's session is going to focus on search engine optimization. And what exactly is SEO? I mean, it's a term that has been used for a number of years, and it's been thrown around. And while maybe 5 to 7 years ago, SEO was kind of an optional strategy for business owners to attract new business, today it's really become it's become a standard way to attract new business. It's important. It's incredibly important. In fact, having good SEO for your website could mean the difference between whether or not your potential customers can find you. And so we'll talk about what SEO is and why it's important. But we're also going to talk about a number of different ways and approaches for you to make your website more visible. And we're going to start with a more holistic approach to SEO, things that you can do so that your website just organically shows up on the search engines. And then we're going to talk about how to implement that holistic approach by using the SEO tools that you get with your website. So I'll actually give you a nice live demonstration on how to do it yourself. And as always, if you are using our tools, you have complete and free, unlimited access to our technical support. So if we're going a little bit too fast tonight, you will be able to review this video on YouTube in the future, or you can always contact support 24/7 and get support that way. From there, we'll talk about some local and regional options for SEO that you have in terms of service. So, if you find that maybe you don't want to invest the time to actually use the tools and you'd rather pay, for service to have that implemented on your behalf, I'll go over what those options are as well, because we do offer some really neat one-time packages that we can set your website up to succeed organically on the search engines. The next kind of approach that we're going to talk to is probably the one that you're more familiar with, and that would be paid search or Google AdWords programs. And a lot of print companies are actually promoting these right now because they realize that, while 10 years ago, the way that consumers found local businesses were in yellow pages or newspaper advertisements or other, printed periodicals, they realize that people are actually Googling terms now, or they're going to Bing or to Yahoo. And so, paid search has taken, the forefront for how consumers find local businesses, stores, and services. And so that is probably the quickest way to get your website to perform well online and to make it visible the fastest way. And so we're going to talk about what that is, why Google AdWords might be a good option for you. And we're going to talk about how to choose a good campaign manager and 5 steps finally for a complete SEO strategy. So we'll talk about, all of these different things, but, we'll very simply and neatly wrap it up at the end with 5 simple steps that we recommend for a full approach, a nice approach to SEO success for your business. So, again, thank you guys so much for joining me tonight, and let's go ahead and get started. So, the first thing to understand is the importance of SEO for small to medium sized businesses, or SMB. So, search engine optimization is actually commonly referred to as SEO. So, when you hear SEO, that's what it stands for. And it ensures that your business will rank high on search engines like Google, Yahoo, Bing, etc. So, when a customer goes to Google and they Google a term or they search for a term, Google will then return some results, right? And so, for example, if you go to Google and you search for, lawyers in your town, then Google will then scrub the internet and look for all of the different attorneys or law firms in your town and try to return that result. That is the business that they're in, right? They are in the business of indexing websites and information so that they can return a result for the person that's looking, or those people that are looking are potential customers or clients of yours, right? So just take a look at how important that is. 33% of organic search clicks go to the first result. So, what that simply means is if I'm a consumer and I go to a search engine and I search for a term, 33% of people are actually just going right to that first result and clicking on it, and the rest of them are likely clicking on the first page. 61% of global internet users research products online. That's global internet users. So, it would be fair to say that that number is substantially higher in the markets that we are in, the USA, Mexico, Canada, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Spain, UK, Australia. Those numbers are certainly higher, but those are global internet user statistics. Guys, Google is practically a verb now, right? When you think about conversations that you've had with, family, friends, or colleagues, if you can't, find something, or if you don't know something, your response is to Google it, right? And so people are certainly researching products and services online more than ever before. And you have to remember that the consumers of today are incredibly more educated. And that has to do with the increase of flow of information. And so, what that simply means is that, yeah, 20 years ago, if I was looking for, a new lawn care provider, then my options for, finding one would be word of mouth advertising if I happen to know somebody that had one. Or maybe I looked up an advertisement in a Yellow Pages company, right? I opened up a book or a directory and I saw an advertisement, generally 1 to 2 lines or a business card size, that really didn't give me a whole lot of information about that company, right? I actually found that advertisement. It likely had the business's logo, name, phone number, and maybe a few bullet points about services that they provide, right? So when I saw that advertisement, all I knew or all I got from that advertisement was generally contact information and a few bullet points about services. I didn't get any information about what makes them different, how long have they been in service. I couldn't read customer reviews, I couldn't interact with the company. It was just a stagnant advertisement in that directory or in that periodical. And so at that time, if you think about it, consumers had to do a lot more work to find out information about products and services. That meant that the only option that they had at that point was to pick up the phone and call different companies that maybe they got contact information for and interview them and ask questions and hopefully get the answers that they were looking for. But that was pretty time consuming, right? And so one of the things that you might find now is that people that continue to do print advertisement or print advertising or advertise in that kind of a manner, now they're using that space more wisely. They're making sure to include a website because they know that the people that find that advertisement are going to want to do some research on their own, that they're going to want to visit their website and be able to read more about their company than what they can say about it inside of a business card's ad space. And so, again, if just 61% of people are actually researching products online, again, I think that number is substantially higher in the US or in the countries that I mentioned earlier. But you have to remember that, again, even even if they're not going to these search engines directly, even if they are looking and finding your information elsewhere that you're advertising, they're still looking for a website. The advertisement is not enough to actually close that new lead. And if you don't have a website or somewhere to send that person that found your ad somewhere else, then you're missing out, because you know that consumers today know that they can research products and services online. And if you're not one of those companies that can be researched or found, they're likely to just skip over you and research the next one on the list. 60% of all organic clicks go to the organic top three searches. So that's pretty cool. So 33% of people are clicking on the first, 60% are going on the top three. 50% of mobile searches are conducted in hopes of finding local results, and 61% of those searches result in a purchase. That's from Search Engine Watch. That's really, really great numbers. So, people are not just searching on the search engines for big box stores or, news or things like that. They're actually looking for local companies, local results, and they're taking action, right? 61% of those searches are resulting in a purchase. 14.6 of SEO leads have a 14.6 close rate. That's a really nice return on investment, while outbound leads, such as direct mail or print advertising, only has a 1.7% close rate. So again, you're seeing a sincere decline in the return on investment for other traditional or print advertising, where that kind of advertising used to have a way bigger ROI. SEO advertising is now taking that place. So just think about that when you're trying to determine, your advertising budget. What may have worked in the past may be less effective today than it was 10 years ago. And there may be other places that you could redirect that advertising or marketing money to, that you could actually see a better result. Now, one of the things that you need to keep in mind is that content is king. So, and when you're thinking about how you're going to set your website up so that it organically shows up well in the search engines, you have to understand that your content is a critical component to having a successful strategy. So, when we're talking here, and I showed you these stats, 33% of organic search clicks are going to the first result, and 60% are going to the top three. What that means is they are not paying for that placement. It's just simply your website is performing well, and Google is recognizing that website as a relevant result. And so when somebody is searching for that, that term or keyword, they want to give you that result. And you're going to show up, if you're showing up in those top three because your website is, positioned well, then you're more likely to get the clicks, right? And that's exactly what you want. So one of the ways, and one of the most effective ways to make sure that you're showing up, is to have good content, right? So major search engines are focusing on creating the best possible user experience ever. And all that means is that if you are Google or Yahoo or Bing or a major search engine, your job is to return the best and most relevant results. So if I'm searching for a law firm in my town, and when I put in that I'm looking for law services in XYZ town in this state, then Google wants to then make sure that all of the results that it returns to you as the searcher are relevant. They don't want to accidentally return to you a restaurant or, something that has nothing to do with the practice of law, or is in the wrong town, or is in the wrong state. They want to actually scrub the web for the perfect result, so that you'll come back to that search engine again. Because if they're not giving you good results, you're not going to keep returning to Google or Yahoo or Bing to keep searching. And so their business is to give you the most relevant result. And so, one of the things that they do to make sure they're giving a relevant result, is they actually scrub the web for the best quality content, right? So they invest in original. So you want to invest in original quality content that has to do with your website, that has to do with your business, so that it will be recognized by the search engines and returned as a result. So, a few years ago, there were all kinds of weird approaches to make your website show up for terms, whether they were relevant or not. But you know as well as I do that if your website is showing up for terms that it has nothing to do with, that's not going to help you actually with conversion, right? And you want your website to show up to a user that's looking for your product or your services in your area or in a place where you're able to conduct business so that you can convert that person into a customer, right? You don't want just clicks. You don't want to just be popular with the search engines. You want to be, successful. You want to actually have that increase your business, right? So 92% of marketers are saying that content creation is either very effective or somewhat effective for SEO. That's a pretty big statistic. So if you're a small business owner and you're wondering where you should start for SEO, content is where you should start. And we'll go through that more specifically at the end in a very, very simple way. But all this simply means is that your content should be written well. Um, your keywords should actually exist in the body of the text of your website. Your page titles, your content, your keywords, all of that needs to be congruent. And we'll talk more about that, and I'll show you how to do that effectively when we actually go through the live demonstration in just a few minutes. Another cool thing to keep in mind is that social media is actually playing a pretty big role in SEO, and it's going to make an even bigger impact as social media becomes even bigger than it already is. Now, one of the things I love about social media is it's a lot like word of mouth advertising, right? Social media is actually the largest referral network on the planet. And so when you think about the best kind of customers that you get or the best kind of advertising you get, it's word of mouth, right? Because word of mouth means third party credibility, and somebody else is saying something great about your company, your product, or your service. And so, again, the conversion rate for you is higher. If I own a restaurant and somebody else says, "Oh, you should eat at that restaurant. They're excellent, and the food is amazing, and the service is great. I highly recommend it." The chances of that person coming to my restaurant are significantly higher than if they you know, um, just found an advertisement in a newspaper that, this restaurant exists, right? Because that third party credibility. Well, social media does the same thing, right? If somebody says that on Facebook or says something about you positively on Google Plus or Twitter or LinkedIn or any of the social networks, that is word of mouth advertising. And so that has, a really great benefit to you as a business owner in itself. But what you might not be aware of is that those things, those social media interactions actually help your SEO for your website as well. Bing uses Facebook likes as a ranking signal for logged in users. Google Plus says it's actually working on using that network as a ranking signal as well. So for those of us that have been maybe slow to get to the game for Google Plus because it's not as fun as Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest or Instagram or other networks that maybe we've been using longer. So, maybe we put it off. Just understand that that actually might make a pretty big difference in your ranking organically in the next couple of years. Twitter tweets help Google index content faster. And so, again, I think Facebook is a great place to start as a business owner. It's simple. Almost everybody has a personal page. So, the learning curve for figuring out how to manage a Facebook page for your business might be a little bit lower, so you can learn it quicker. Um, and so that's great. And I think a lot of people put Google Plus off or they put Twitter off because it's one more thing to learn. But guys, it's making a big difference, not just in the interactions that you have with your community, your business community, your customers, etc., but it's making a big difference for how you get indexed on the search engines as well. And again, we'll talk about that on a future webinar. Actually, our next webinar will be all about social media, but just keep that in the back of your mind that social media can positively influence your SEO. So when we will talk about how to use our tools to organically get your website set up to perform well in the search engines, but before we do that, I want to give you a little bit of information so that when you do go ahead and do those things, you're taking a good approach. So when you're thinking about what keywords you want to add, right? And keywords, again, those are the terms that people would be searching for on Google, Bing, Yahoo, etc. Right? So one of the things, the biggest mistakes that I've seen business owners make when they're choosing their keywords is they think like an expert, right? So if you own a roofing company, you're an expert in the roofing industry, and so you're thinking like an expert. And so maybe some of the terms that you think about with your website are a little bit over the head of the consumer. You have to think about who is going to be searching for your company and your services or your product, and what kinds of terms might they be searching for so that those are the terms that you're using. You don't want to attract other professional roofing companies. You want to attract a homeowner that needs a roofing service, right? And so thinking like a consumer or thinking like a customer is critical for choosing good keywords. So I did some research for you guys, and you know and by the way, Google is our source, and they completely agree with this approach. In fact, it's their number one rule is, and they recommend that you write down the main categories of your business, and then the terms or phrases that might fall under each of those categories first. So what that simply means is if you have a business where there are multiple focuses, so for example, if you are a home improvement company and you have multiple categories that you do business in, for example, windows, siding, roofing, maybe you do kitchens and baths, right? That's five different categories. So, first, start off by making five columns and putting the categories at the top, and then go ahead and think about the terms or phrases that your customers would use to describe those products or services. And those that would be giving you a really nice starting point to choosing some keywords. So if in that example, if I own that home improvement company and kitchens is one of my services that I provide, then I might include dream kitchen or dream home or new kitchen or cabinets or refacing or appliances, new appliances or kitchen remodel. I might think of all of those things, kitchen renovation. All of that stuff, right? You write down the different phrases, or you write down a single word or term that would be relevant for each category. And again, you want to think like a customer. You don't want to be thinking like an expert. So if you have, professional terminology for these items, then you want to try and steer away from that and think more like the consumer. The other thing to keep in mind, and one of the things that might be helpful, is to think about who are your customers, what is their demographic, and might and think about how they might speak. Those are things that they might search. All of these things can help. The next thing is to select specific keywords. So again, I mentioned this a little bit earlier. A few years ago, a common approach would be to go ahead and just include a ton of general words, and if they were slightly relevant to your business, then just throw it in there, because then that would help you to just show up for a number of different things. But again, you're not trying to attract everybody under the sun. You're trying to attract people that want or need your products and services. And so selecting specific keywords that directly relate to your business or the theme of the ad that you are going to have, that will only positively influence you, right? Because using those specific keywords would mean that your ad would appear for terms that apply to your business, right? It's relevant. Keep in mind though, if your keywords are so specific, you might not reach as many people as you might like. So you still want to include some that are a little bit more general or open ended. However, still keep them relevant, right? The more general your keywords are, the more competitive that becomes. What I simply mean by that is if you happen to own, let's say you own an Indian cuisine restaurant, and all of your keywords are only general restaurant keywords like restaurant, takeout, dinner, lunch, breakfast, catering, that kind of stuff, then now you're competing against every single restaurant, that's a lot of competition, right? And so you want to include those because those are general keywords that are absolutely relevant to your business. However, adding some more specific ones on top of that will help you to attract those more specific things. So maybe you might want to add Indian cuisine, ethnic food, Middle Eastern food, whatever. You can add whatever other specific terms in addition to some of those general ones so that you're kind of getting the best of both worlds. You don't want to not include general keywords that are relevant. You know, you would definitely be remiss to not include restaurants or catering if that was part of what you did, but just make sure that you're not only solely relying on those more general ones because they are more competitive because again, you're competing against a number of other people. Pick the right number of keywords. So most advertisers are choosing between 5 and 20 keywords. So, you know, my best advice would be choose 10, right? Choose at least 10 and definitely no more than 20. I think 20 is actually a little bit excessive, and 5 is probably too few. But if you could choose 10 keywords for each of your categories, you'd be in a really great place. And remember, when you create content that contains keywords um, within your website itself, that actually helps you. So if you are that Indian restaurant and you are, coming up with all your keywords, and again, I just rolled off a bunch of them: restaurant, catering, takeout, dine-in, Indian cuisine, Middle Eastern, or whatever, ethnic food. If you have all of those things and you also sprinkle those keywords into the content of your website itself, that's a home run. That's like a slam dunk for you. It's easy to do that, and it makes sense because it has to do with your business. Where you run into trouble is if you're actually choosing keywords that have nothing to do with your business, because then it becomes pretty difficult to sprinkle that into your content, right? So keep in mind, this is, I mean, it's not new, but years and years ago, people would also include all kinds of variations of their keywords, like misspellings or plural versions, lawyer, lawyers, that kind of a thing. But you don't need to worry about that kind of stuff anymore. You just want to pick 10, at least 10 solid keywords that have to do with your website. So the good news is this: you actually have all of the tools that you need to rank highly in the search engines. In fact, we've worked with tens of thousands of customers, and before we had any SEO packages or service, we've had clients that just use these SEO tools and have shown up in the top three results organically in their areas that they were working with, just using these tools. And I mean, the tools are incredibly effective. And if you follow the rules and you create great content and you actually take the time to actually go through the process that I'm going to show you, your website can actually perform really well without even needing paid search. Now, again, you can always use paid search to boost your efforts or to increase your chances, and we'll talk about that. But you have everything that you need to be successful. And so I want to actually go ahead and show you that. Now, here's what I'm going to actually demonstrate for you. We're going to talk about setting up titles, keywords, and page descriptions for all of the pages in your website. So the most important one, honestly, is to make sure that your page is titled appropriately. So when you think about that, most people will just, when they create a new page on their website, they'll just call it About Us. Well, there's billions of websites out there that have pages called About Us, and so that's not going to really help you in terms of SEO value, right? So choosing a good page title is actually a really quick tip to having your website actually shoot to the top of the rankings quicker. And I think that we just think about keywords and we think about page descriptions and all of that other stuff, but we forget that the page title is actually very, very, very valuable. The next thing is each page of your website should be treated individually. And that means every single page of your website can have its own page title, have its own keywords, and have its own page description. And if you take the time to do that, then all you're doing is giving the search engines even more scannable quality content so that it can return the most appropriate result. It also allows you to go ahead and choose these more specific keywords. So if you own a that home improvement company and you've got 5 different categories of services that you provide, just creating a page title and keywords and a page description of your website as a whole is not enough, because now you have to find a way in 10 to 20 keywords to attract people for kitchens, baths, remodels, renovations, additions, siding, exteriors, windows, roofing, etc. Right? But if you had the opportunity to submit every single page as its own unique thing, then each one of those pages would be a relevant return for Google or a relevant page for Google to return to its user. And so it just makes a tremendous difference, especially if you are the kind of business that does have a primary, a secondary, and maybe a third or fourth focus, right? The next thing is the page description itself. So what that is when you Google a term, and you go to Google and you see all of the different websites, you'll see the website itself followed by 1 or 2 sentences that describe that website, right? And so what you want to do is make sure that that page description is set up so that you can, when somebody sees your option show up on Google, they can read that 1 to 3 sentences and go, yeah, I definitely want to check out that website. And again, remember, as we go through this process together, we want to be thinking like a consumer, not like the expert that we are in the businesses that we're running. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to show you, give you a little live demonstration on how to access um, or how to use our tools so that we can access setting up a page title, adding keywords, adding a page description for every single page on our website. And essentially what it's doing is but if you take the time to do that, is you're telling Google that your website is not just one website. Every single page is now its own little thing that can be submitted to the search engine. So you just took your SEO value from 1 to 100 in a matter of minutes. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to pull up right here. So when you log in, you'll notice that in your account, you have your short page name, the file name, the menu name, you've got your title. These are the page titles, right? And so this is a roofing company. And you notice that on his roofing page, instead of just saying that the title of that page is roofing, the title of this page is actually Hazardville Roofing, roofing contractors, roof installation, roof repair in Connecticut, right? So this is a roofing contractor in Hazardville, Connecticut. That's the name of the town. And so and roofing is the bread and butter of that business. And so when you actually view this live site, um, what's really cool about that is when you click on the pages, you'll notice up here that that's actually where the page titles are showing up. So roofing is right there, and up here you'll see that all of these page titles are showing up right around there. This makes a tremendous difference. So let's talk about how to edit this stuff. By the way, you'll notice all of the pages are here: homeowner resources, how to select a roofing company, gutters, gutter protection, gallery, free estimates, and every single one of these has its own unique page title. So the way to work with the SEO tools are simple. You're going to do one page at a time, and you're just going to rinse and repeat this process each page after the next. So you click on the little box next to the page that you want to work with, and the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to go edit properties. Okay, so if you want to work on the SEO stuff for roofing page, you're going to click on the box and then you're going to click edit properties. Now from there, you're going to be presented with all of the different options that you have. The short page name and the page file name, you're just going to leave those alone. Don't touch those at all. But right here is the page title, and that's what I just read to you. So right here, the page title was set to um, uh, Hazardville Roofing, roofing, contractors, roof installation, roof repair, Connecticut, right? And so what's really cool about that is if you actually Google roofing in Connecticut or Hazardville or use these terms, this is going to make a difference. Then we have the page keywords, right? And so we're thinking like a customer, right? We're not thinking like an expert. So we've got roof repair, roofing contractors, Connecticut, Northern Connecticut, CT. Notice that I actually, when we did this, we actually kept that we actually included our town and our region as well, because we know that when somebody is looking for a roofing contractor, they're generally going to be looking for a roofing contractor in their area. They don't, if they're in Connecticut, they're not going to necessarily want someone from New Jersey to drive up to Connecticut to do their roof. And so keep that in mind. If you work in an industry, or if your business um, works in a specific geographical radius, go ahead and keep that in mind, whether it's a town or a county or a state or even an entire region. Go ahead and put that in there. Now, if that's not relevant, like let's say, for example, you're a retailer and you might have a store in your town, but you can retail all over the country or internationally, that might not be so important. It really does depend business to business, and choosing the right keywords, it's important. Think like a customer, think about who you're marketing to and what they would be looking for. Now, right below that is the page description. And again, this is the area where if I searched on Google and this website showed up, or this page of the website showed up, then it would say, roofing contractor in Hazardville, Connecticut. And actually, I'll go ahead and I'll update that. And good. Family owned business, right? Maybe I put that and maybe one other thing, and then I go ahead and I click save. Now, just doing that alone will make page by page, and making sure that all of your keywords and all of your descriptions and your page titles are relevant. Just doing that alone, without the mobile properties, without the advanced properties, that's going to do some tremendous things for your SEO value. So again, you just want to make sure that every single page is actually treated individually. So if I'm working on how to select a roofing company and I edit properties for this one, I want to make sure that my keywords are, you can use some that are the same, but you want to add some new ones as well. Um, Trustworthy, oh my gosh, I'm typing crazy right now. Trustworthy roofing company, comma, whatever, because we're saying how to select a roofing company. And by the way, because how to select a roofing company and roofing contractors in Connecticut are all in the page title, it's like a second set of keywords. It's incredible. Your page description should be different here. But notice that I'm not talking about gutters on these pages, right? Even though this company offers gutter services, new gutters or gutter cleaning, I'm not talking about that here, because I only want to compete. I want this page to compete with other roofing options in the area. And if I start, adding every single thing that my business does to this one thing, I'm actually selling myself short. What makes more sense is to go ahead and scroll down to the gutter page, click on that, choose edit properties, and now switch my focus of my keywords and my title and my description to gutters. So you see here the page title is gutter installation, gutter contractors, Connecticut, New England, right? Gutters, gutter repair, I think gutter cleaning, right? Gutter installation, CT, Enfield, Connecticut, right? There's all different areas, and I'm adding a lot of different strategic things, but I'm not talking about roofing here. I'm talking about gutters here, because this is my gutter page. If you take the time to treat every single page individually and make sure that the title, the keywords, the page description, and the content on that page itself are all relevant and congruent, then that's like having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pages that are individually submitted to the search engines. So you can see here that that is substantially more valuable to you as a business owner than simply just submitting your website to the search engines. Page by page by page, it gives you 11 opportunities to be specific and 11 opportunities to capture new business instead of just one. So that's important to know. Also, when you click on website up here and you scroll down to tools, you can do site promotion right here. You can analyze the how your website is doing on the search engine. And when you click on the site promotion, it just gives you a bunch of different direct links to the top search engines, so that you can make sure your website is also submitted to these search engines as well. So there's a number of tools that are pretty helpful for you to set this all up organically. And again, you have all the tools. You can always click on help for this page and get help just for that page. You could click on live chat support here and chat with a technician live about how to do these things, or you could call us 866 web help at any time 24/7, and get support doing those page titles and submitting to the search engines. We will help you to walk through this entire process if that's what you'd like us to do. Now, if you don't want to take the time to do that, and you would rather, pay for some service to be done on your behalf, you can actually, now we've just recently launched some new packages that help to organically position your website for success. So that leaves you always have the option to do it yourself using tech support for as long as you need them. But remember, you're doing the work, you're doing the page titles, you're researching the terms, you're writing the page descriptions, you're making sure that all of that is set up page for page by page. And but you get all of the tools that you need to be successful. You have the option to do that if you'd like to. Now, your other option is to it's a one-time fee that you would pay. The local organic search package is a package where our team will actually reach out with you, and they will discuss what the goals of your site are, right? They're going to use the built-in tools. They will conduct SEO tasks that are related to keywords, page titles, page descriptions, headings, and other ways to make sure your website stands out. They're going to figure out what is your industry, what is the bread and butter of your business, what are all of the focuses of your business, where do you conduct your business, right? Are you looking to attract customers just in your town, or just in your county, your entire state, or maybe the whole Northeast, or maybe the East Coast or the West Coast? They will ask you all of those questions and develop a strategy for your SEO. Now, the local one is it's lesser expensive, and the pricing is actually available when you log into your account, and you can actually click and choose purchase add-on products. The local one is for local search, and so those are the services that are provided. Now, if you're looking for a bigger reach, you would want to go with the regional organic search. And so it will do all of those things I just described. But in addition to that, the our team will actually rewrite some of your content itself in the actual body of your website to help optimize your site, and that's up to 15 pages optimized. And so again, you will have the option to do it yourself, or you can purchase a local or regional organic search package and have a team of professional SEO experts take a nice holistic approach so that your website is positioned to do well. What's really great about this kind of a package or doing it yourself is you're building your SEO for the long term when you take this approach. You're not saying, I'm only going to do paid search and I'm only going to show up when I'm buying advertising space. You're positioning your website to perform well on the search engines for now and for the future. So another thing that you can do is to participate in paid search or Google AdWords programs, right? So the search engine giant Google, it offers a paid AdWords program to businesses who want to enhance their internet marketing efforts. So all that means is when you go to Google and you search for a term, let me actually just go ahead and show you what that looks like. We're going to go ahead and go to Google. Oh, just a second. Sorry, guys. So we go to Google, and let's say we look for restaurant in Agawam, Mass, right? So when we get to a restaurant in Agawam, Mass, we've got a number of local restaurants here. This is the organic results, and then you've got some paid ones that will show up as well. Or maybe we want to look for jewelry. Oh, in Western Mass. We've got a lot of actually organic ones that are showing up. This is cool. Actually, this is good news for these companies. So all of these are websites that have positioned themselves well. But if you looked at the ones before, you have people that actually pay for advertising space as well. When you see those and you click on those are people that paid for the ads. So you want to think about that like commercials, right? People actually buy ad space, or they're an ad space on anything, ad space on a menu, ad space in a program, ad space in a yellow pages, ad space in a newspaper. Just like that, you can purchase ad space on Google. And what that does is it ensures that your company is going to show up number one or in those top results, right? So what happens is our SEO specialist will actually guide you through the entire process. They will actually create the account for you. They will develop the campaign for you. They will determine what budget that you have, meaning how much money do you actually want to spend with Google to pay for that ad space. What networks do you want to use? Do you mobile device targeting, geographical targeting, and other things as well. But the cool part is our SEO specialists will handle all of that for you. They know all of the questions that need to be addressed. They know what devices it needs to be shown up on. They'll create a display ad for you, and they will manage that campaign. And in addition to managing that campaign for you, they will provide a monthly report to you to let you know how that campaign is performing, what kinds of clicks are you getting, what kinds of impressions are you getting. So, is AdWords a good idea? Yeah, probably. Google, it's a verb, right? We said that in the first couple of minutes of tonight's session. Google is probably the number one place that most of you are doing all of your searching, right? When you think of something that you need to look up, you don't look up a dictionary or get a thesaurus out or an encyclopedia anymore. You go to Google and you Google it, right? 43% of internet searches performed today use local keywords, right? SE leads. 86% of those searches convert to a phone call or a visit to the physical location. I think that's a pretty important number right there. 86% of searches result in a phone call or a visit to your location. That's important because if you are not in the retail business, if you're in a service provider business, you might be wondering if a Google AdWords program really makes sense for you. Well, if it results in a phone call or a visit to your place of business, then the answer is yeah, it could totally make sense for you. 88% of consumers who search for a type of a local business on a mobile device call or go to that business within 24 hours. That's pretty cool. So the mobile thing is pretty important, right? 54% of Americans have submitted or substituted the internet and local search um, uh, from phone books. 70% of households now use the internet when shopping locally for products and services. 61% of searchers consider local results to be more relevant than the standard search results. So, again, having a nice local campaign, having one that is targeted to the appropriate demographic and the appropriate geographical location, it's all important. Just because your website shows up doesn't mean that you're going to get the result you want. You want to make sure that it's showing up for a relevant potential customer, right? Somebody that actually is in the market for what you have and in an area where they can actually conduct business with you. Now, when choosing a campaign manager, you really want to make sure that there's transparency. It's important to have an AdWords professional that's going to work with you, right? And again, you should maintain control over the goals of your business and you should have a say in how that campaign works. And so that's a big part of how we manage our campaigns. We will consult with you about your goals, consult with you about who are you targeting and what are the goals of this campaign and what are you expecting from this? What kind of a budget are you looking for? Again, who are your demographics? What is your geographical location? We will make sure to work with you. We're not just going to, sell you an AdWords program and just handle it ourselves and not consult with you. This is your business and nobody knows your business better than you do. And so it's important for us to consult with you so that we can get inside of your head and be part of a team together so that we can create the best winningness strategy. You also want to know your manager. So make sure that you're not going to have to jump through hoops to talk to people, or you're going to be passed around to other people. You should be immediately informed of who your AdWords manager would be, and be provided with their contact information so that you can reach them directly if you have any questions or concerns. And so with our programs, when an AdWords package is purchased through us, you are actually assigned a project manager who will consult with you and work with you, and be available to answer your questions. And again, at the end of every month, they will also reach out to you to give you a report and let you know exactly how that campaign is going. So even if you don't know what questions to ask, or you're not sure of what questions or when to ask, we're still going to make sure that we keep you informed and that we are communicating with you so that you know how it's working. Choosing the right budget, your industry and location and goals. Again, our SEO specialists will guide you through the process. They will take care of subjects like, again, account creation, choosing, making sure that if your industry is a very competitive industry, that we pick the perfect keywords and we adjust those keywords to make sure that the strategy is working for you, the location is right, the goals are all in alignment, your budget is right, and that all of the targeting is set up to be successful. Now, Google can or AdWord programs, generally you set that up based off of the consultation. You go and it's a measure, monitor, and an adjust approach where that's exactly what you do. You set the campaign into motion and then you monitor it and you measure the results that you're getting and you make adjustments accordingly so that you are getting the best result for the budget that you have, right? That's a really important thing to keep in mind, is having a professional that knows how to do that effectively will make your budget more valuable. And all that simply means is, you could choose to spend $250 with Google every single month, with company A, and you could choose to spend that exact same money, that $250 a month, with company B. If company A is not measuring the results of the campaign and they're not making adjustments and monitoring how that budget is being spent, you're not going to get the same result as company B, who is, right? Because company B is going to take that money and that budget that you have set for yourself, and they're going to make sure that that money is working for you the best possible way that it can so they can get the most target impressions and clicks. But it takes management, it takes campaign management. And that's why having a campaign or a professional campaign manager and working with a company that understands how to do that is so critical. Because if you don't know what you're doing, or if you're working with a company that it doesn't do all of those things that I just described, then you're not getting $250 worth of Google AdWords. You're just spending $250, and that's a lot different, right? We're going to give you that monthly report and detail the results and go over that with you. We'll handle those adjustments for you and the strategy. We'll make sure that your investment is consistently bringing results, and we're gonna handle all of that for you, so that again, you're not just dumping $250 into a campaign, but rather you're investing that money and getting a return on that investment like you want. So our packages are set up really based on the goals of the campaign itself. We start with a basic Google AdWords campaign. It's great for a small local campaign. The target impression on a monthly basis is 17,500. I believe that's $249 per month. It's no big deal. And by the way, all of our campaigns programs, they actually include the cost of the Google ads themselves. So when you go with a basic Google AdWords program for $250 a month, you're not only paying for the management, the monitoring, and the professional management of that campaign. That's actually going to fund the campaign itself. You won't have to pay additional money to Google on top of that. And that's true for all of our Google programs. Our premium program is ideal for a medium volume local campaign. So if you are looking for a local campaign, you're not trying to target a larger geographical location, but you're looking for maybe more volume, That's a 45,000 target impression monthly campaign. The Premium Plus is great for large volume local campaigns. You're looking, again, locally, you're looking for about 67,000 impressions. That's great. An elite program is ideal for larger volume and regional campaigns. We're looking for 90,000 impressions. So again, if you're not sure which one of these to go with, that's fine. We can call into tech support and you can, let them know what you're trying to do, and you can ask them which one they recommend, and they can help you to go ahead and purchase that add-on product. And a project manager will actually be assigned to you, and they will do all of that consulting and management and make sure that your campaign is running smoothly. So, to wrap up tonight's session, I wanted to very simply and neatly go through 5 steps or suggestions for a successful SEO strategy. The first one is to research your customers and competitors to know exactly what your competitors are doing and what are your customers searching. So the idea is you know your customer, you know what they're searching, you're thinking like a customer, and you've got all of that in your mind, but you're also aware of what your competitors are doing. It's important to know that, because if your competitors are showing up ahead of you, then what and how far ahead of you are they? That's important information to know, so that you know what you're up against, and what kinds of approaches that you need to take. Maybe you want to do a combination. Perhaps you want to buy the local organic package. Make sure your website is positioned for the long term. And by the way, the longer your website is around, um, the better SEO value it's going to have. And so if you do it now, the sooner you do it, the better. But maybe your competitors are showing up substantially ahead of you, and you also want to do some paid search as well, so that you can go ahead and compete with them. Better on the search engines. Oh, one other tip before I forget: when you purchase your domain name, uh, Google actually knows how long they recognize how long you purchased that domain name for. So usually you have the option to renew your domain name for a year or 3 years or 5 or 10 or 15. So if you can, always purchase the maximum number for your domain name, because that tells Google that you are in business for the long run. When you buy these 1-year renewals, it actually tells Google that, maybe they'll be around, maybe they won't. And so, again, they're in the business of making good referrals to people that are searching for stuff. So if they see that your website is, you know, um, in it for the long run, then they're going to go ahead and refer you to the searcher. Second, optimize your website for search engines to make sure that your customers are finding your company. So, optimizing your website would be going through page by page, making sure those page titles, descriptions, keywords, etc., are all set up. So, and that the content is good, so that the search engines can actually scrub your website and make recommendations to people that are looking for your services or products. 3, naturally attract customers to your site and build trust by providing valuable content. The more relevant and the more valuable your content, the better it's going to perform on search engines, and the better chances you will have of converting that viewer into a customer. 4, increase your audience and customer base to fill your sales funnel with strategic outreach and exposure. And that simply means things like making sure that you have a strategy for increasing your funnel. Is it paid AdWords? Is it social media? Is it both? Make sure that you're going to have a clear program that you plan to do, so that you um, are making a consistent effort to attract and build on your audience. And 5 is fit SEO into your larger, more comprehensive online marketing plan to guarantee long term success. Again, where 5 to 10 years ago, SEO was an optional way to market your business, today it's one of the best uses of your time and money. Um, you saw the statistics. Customers are going to the search engines to research products and services. It's just what they do. And so if your website is not showing up in the search engines, it's time to take some action and create that plan. Make sure it's positioned better to show up. The content is good. And again, it doesn't hurt. And in fact, it can only help to go ahead and do some paid search as well, to help rocket your website to the top a little bit sooner. So, guys, I want to remind everybody that you have unlimited access to our support team. All of our clients do. We've got live chat support if you prefer to chat online. We also have 24/7 phone support. You can call 1-866-WEB-HELP. And when you do that, they can help you with any of the tools that come with your website to implement these SEO strategies. They can help you to do that. And they will help you to do that, and they can also answer your questions if you are considering to do one of the paid services as well. You can also talk to the web center owner or the business owner that you purchased your website from, and get some questions answered from them, and they can help connect you to the right people. On the screen, you'll also notice that we've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, blogs, newsletters, websites, and a YouTube channel that all have great content that you could be following us. We could be giving you guys tips and ideas and blogs and other great useful things just to help boost your business. We really truly do consider ourselves in business with your business. And so we're not just putting things out there to market stuff to you. We actually want to give you strategies. We want to give you information because your success ultimately means our success. So we want you guys to be successful as well. Our YouTube channel, if you go to youtube.com/user/MA WebCenters official, you'll be able to find this video within the next week, along with the other topics that we've covered in the past, such as email marketing and social media and responsive designs. You'll always be able to find some recorded sessions there. So other than that, everybody, I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of the week. Reach out to tech support or your web center owner, your business owner that worked with you on your website, and we hope nothing but success for you.